Hello and welcome to Clues by Sam again. Happy Saturday. I hope you guys are doing good. We have another hard one. If you don't know what Clues by Sam is, it is a daily puzzle. So we play this every day here on the channel, and in it there are 20 people. We gotta find out which of them are criminals and which of them are innocents. And if you wanna follow along, the link is in the description. I start the game and I explain my logic as I go, so hopefully I can help you if you have any questions or you get stuck. Let's start. Habiba is telling us that no innocent in column C is on the edges. So there's two people in column C who are on the edges, Zina and Chad. None of them are innocents. We have two new people right off the bat and we don't need Habiba's clue anymore. Now Zina gives us a new clue. Exactly 2 of the 4 criminals neighboring Frank are above Vera. So Frank has 5 people neighboring him. 3 of them are above Vera, and 2 of those are criminals. So let's say that Gabe and Mary are those criminals. Then Frank still needs 2 more to total 4. And there's only 2 people that neighbor him who are not above Vera. And those are the last neighbors that he has, so both of them have to be criminals, right? Jose and Austin, so we can have a total of 4 criminals neighboring Frank. Now, we keep that clue there to remind us that there's only 1 innocent here. And Jose gives us a new clue. There's an odd number of innocents above Vera. So we know that there's 1 innocent here above Vera, right? Because of the Frank situation. That's an odd number. There's 4 people total above Vera, and of those 4, only 1 of them does neighbor Frank. So that 4th person couldn't be another innocent because that will make 2 an even number. So we know that Rowan has to be a criminal and we don't need Jose's clue anymore. Now, Rowan says that 2 of the 3 doctors have an innocent directly above them. So there's 3 doctors total here, Gabe, Mary, and Jose, and 2 of them have innocents above them. So we know that since there's 1 innocent here and 2 doctors, at least one of those doctors is gonna have an innocent above them. The other one for sure is not. Why? If Gabe is an innocent, even though he's a doctor, he would be on top of another doctor, and he would be the innocent above one of the doctors. Then he will be the single innocent that neighbors Frank here in column B. So no other person could be an innocent above one of the doctors. We couldn't have Barney be the second innocent above a doctor. And if it were Barney, then that would make him the single innocent above a doctor in column B. Does that make sense? We couldn't have both Gabe and Barney be innocents to make 2 innocents above a doctor here in column B, and we couldn't have Mary be an innocent because then we wouldn't have enough doctors with innocents above them. I'm trying to say this in a way that is understandable, and I'm confusing myself. Because Mary is the single innocent that neighbors Frank in column B, she would make Gabe and Barney both criminals, and now there's only 1 doctor who could have an innocent above them. So we know that Mary is a criminal. We know that Barney and Gabe are opposites because only one of them could be an innocent, and we know that Frank is an innocent because there has to be a second doctor with an innocent above them. And we get a new clue. We don't need Rowan's anymore. Frank says there's an odd number of criminals in column B. So in column B, we know we have so far 2 criminals. We're gonna have a 3rd one here who's either Barney or Gabe. And there's only 1 more person in that column, that's Vera. So if she were to be a criminal, we would have 4 criminals total, and that's an even number. So we know that Vera is not a criminal. We don't need Frank's clue anymore. Vera says that only 1 person in column A has exactly 4 criminal neighbors. So we know that Frank has 4 criminal neighbors, right? Which means that no other person in column A could have 4. And Kita is in risk of having 4 if Uma is a criminal. So we know that Uma couldn't be a criminal. She's an innocent. And anybody else in risk of that? I guess Jose. but we don't know what Gabe is yet, so let's leave Vera's clue there. Uma says that Mary has exactly 5 criminal neighbors. So far she has 2 criminal neighbors, Mary, and she needs 3 more. She has 4 people left neighboring her, so 3 of those have to be criminals. Now, how do we do? We know that Kita, like I just said before, that we don't know if Jose has 4 criminal neighbors or not, but he could have if both Gabe and Kita were criminals. And we know that Mary needs those 2 to total her 3, which would make Nala and Souza opposites. But that can't happen because that would make Jose have 4 criminal neighbors, and only Frank can have 4 criminal neighbors in column A. So we couldn't make both Gabe and Kita innocents, of course, because that will make Mary have less criminal neighbors than she needs to have. So we need to make Gabe and Kita opposites, so that Jose is now left with 4 criminal neighbors. And since we know that the last of Mary's innocent neighbors is either Gabe or Kita, that makes Nala and Souza both criminals, so that she can have 5 criminals neighboring her. So we don't need Uma's clue anymore or Vera's, because now we know that nobody else other than Frank in column A is gonna have 4 criminal neighbors. Nala says there are more criminal coders than criminal farmers. So 3 coders, Nala, Olga, and Uma. One of them is a criminal so far. 2 farmers, Frank and Zach. No criminals yet. But the thing is, if Olga is not a criminal, that will make Zach not allowed to be a criminal. So let's look at Susan's clue. Terry has at least 1 innocent neighbor. Where's Terry? Terry has 2 neighbors left. At least one of them has to be an innocent. Could both of them be innocents? If that's so, does Nala's clue make sense? Nala's clue. There are more criminal coders than criminal farmers. It does, because both farmers are innocents. There's no criminal farmers, so of course there's more coder criminals than farmer criminals. So that makes sense. If, on the other hand, Terry had only Zach as an innocent and Olga as a criminal, Nala's clue still applies, because there's 2 criminal coders and no criminal farmers. What couldn't happen is Olga being an innocent and Zach being a criminal, because now there's 1 coder and 1 farmer who are criminals, so that's not one more than the other, that's the same number. So we have to make Zach an innocent at least, and we don't know about Olga yet. Zach now says that 4 people on the edges have an innocent directly to the right of them. So people on the edges who have innocence to their right. This clue is the same that we had yesterday, I think. The same type of clue that we had yesterday, where it talks about people on the edges who have innocence to one of their sides. And we can't forget that people on the edges could be those 2 here and here. The first and last row, the people in the middle on those rows also are on the edges. Because when I think about the edges, I often think only about column D and column A. Forget about Barney, Chad, Vera, and Zena. So let's keep that in mind and look again at the clue. 4 people on the edges have an innocent directly to the right of them. So people on the edges will have people to their right. Column D is all off, because no one in column D has people to their right. Now, of the people on the other 3 columns who are on the edges, we know that Uma is on the edge and has an innocent to her right, so that's 1 person. At least Frank or Austin, I mean, one of them for sure is gonna have to have an innocent to their right, so that's 2 people on the edges with innocence to their right. Who else could be on the edge and have an innocent to their right? Kita doesn't have an instance, she already has a criminal. Jose already has a criminal. Zena is on the edge and has an instance to her right, so that's 3. Now, nobody else is on the edge. Barney is on the edge, but he has a criminal to his right, so that doesn't work. We need Chad to be the last person on the edge to have an instance to his right, so Diane is an instance for sure. And that very convoluted, long, complex clue gave us only one person, but that's why it's important to analyze everything that the clue is saying. I like longer clues like that. Oh, sorry about that. Diane says there's an equal number of instances in rows 1 and 4. So we know that row 4 so far doesn't have any instance, but it has to have one at least because there's already an instance in row 4. In row 1, sorry. Could we have both Barney and Diane be instants? If that's so, then Barney would make Gabe a criminal, which would make Kita an instant. And now we would have Terry be an instant as well, so that we can have the same number of instants in both rows. If it were the opposite, if Barney were a criminal, that would make Gabe an instant, which would make Kita a criminal. But again, Terry would have to be an instant, so that row 4 and row 1 have to have the same number of instants. So in any scenarios of Barney, Gabe, and Kita, Terry is always an instant. Put these guys back to opposites. And we don't need Diane's clue anymore. Terry says there's an odd number of instants neighboring Chad. So Chad has 3 instants, right? Diane, Habiba, and he's going to have a third one here in column B because they are opposites. That's an odd number, so his last neighbor, Ike, couldn't be an instant as well because that will make 4, an even number. So Ike is a criminal. And he tells us that Habiba has exactly 2 instant neighbors. So Habiba has Diane as an instant neighbor, and she's going to have a second one here, who's either Barney or Gabe. And that's her 2 total. So Olga, the last neighbor, is a criminal. And now Olga says that only one person in column B has exactly 4 criminal neighbors. So same as column A. Who is that person? It isn't Mary. We know that Mary has 5 criminal neighbors. Rowan has 5 already. Couldn't be Barney because Barney only has 1 more neighbor left. It could be Vera. It couldn't be Gabe because Gabe also already has 5. So we know that Vera has to have 4 criminal neighbors to be the person in that column. And now Kita being a criminal makes Gabe an instant, which makes Barney a criminal. We are done. Very nice. 13 minutes. Good. I love when we have new types of clues being introduced, which we have had quite a lot lately. And I think that's a result of some of the community puzzles that Sam has been experimenting with. So I'm pretty happy with that. Happy with the perfect solve. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be live streaming later today. We'll play CD-ROM, which launched today, and is a game that we played the demo a while ago, and I was interested in playing the full version. So excited for that as well. See you later or tomorrow for more Clues by Sam. Bye bye.